Good morning, traders. And my name is Adam Harris, and this is your opening bell. So it is Friday the 23rd of December. This is usually the kind of last Friday before we hit the Christmas holiday season. And so I'm expecting volumes to start to dip a little bit, maybe less activity on certain instruments. Looking at the major economic calendar news for today, we've pretty much got holidays in the United Kingdom, New Zealand, Australia. They're effectively closing at midday today, so the market's going to be half checked out. Whereas when we look towards the US at 1:30 UK time, we've got some high impact, coreable, durable goods orders. We've got core PCE price index. We've also got some new home sales that are coming out later in the afternoon out of the US, and out of Canada, we've got some GDP figures. So that just really means on the tail end, are there any surprises with regards to a recession? That's really where the focus is going to be. I would expect, interestingly enough, possibly more volatility because the volume is lower. So effectively the markets are not as thick with activity. They can tend to get a little bit thin or watery, and therefore the volatility can actually increase. Right, so then having a look at the markets themselves, well, in terms of, let me just have a look here. Are there any major earnings announcements? There's some Sprott Physical Gold and Neogen. We actually had Neogen the other day as well. And then in terms of dividends, we've got ConocoPhillips, and that's it. It's just very small little bits and pieces as we kind of head into the holiday season. If we have a look at the charts, yesterday we saw a bit of that dollar coming back, pushing its way back in. We can see today actually the euro and the pound is trying to work their way back up. They don't really want to give that way to the US dollar, but I think it's highly likely that dollar is going to win at the end of the day. However, I would say that yesterday we didn't close as low as I was expecting. So today, if we're lucky, we'll just get a very temperate closing, which is not necessarily a bad thing going into next week. What I don't really want to see is a really strong US dollar close, which means that we're likely to have a much bigger move to the downside across the board, like we have had for most of the year. I don't really want to see that. I'd like to see the US dollar just kind of give a push, and we'll see how it goes. However, I don't really think that's likely. I think we're going to see gold, also gold and silver are very keen to keep going. They're very strong. They're very happy. They want to keep pushing. So we'll see how well they do. Then we've got crude oils. Crude oils are not as strong. They might attempt to push a little bit higher, but overall I think they're actually weaker, and they might finish much lower for sure. And it won't just be to do with the US dollar in that case. Then looking at the major global indices, they actually had a push lower yesterday, and I think it's fair to say we're going to see them, as much as they would love to try and push back, I think we're going to see those close lower today as well. If we look at the major equities, we look at Apple, ARK Innovation, a lot of those, most of those had a lower close yesterday, and they're not necessarily free. With a Friday, I would expect it to continue through today. The only two I would mention is that the two that are taking the hit the biggest are Amazon, which is the biggest drop in tech stocks across the board, and then that is followed by Tesla, and of course Tesla continues to reach fresh lows. So at this point it has dropped more than 70% from its all-time highs, which is quite a big shock considering how well it was doing at its highs. Then we've got the bonds. The bonds are also looking a little bit weak, so they might continue to head low. Euro bonds definitely heading lower. US bonds considering that idea, and finishing off with cryptos. And I'm very happy to say actually the cryptos appear to be holding and treading water where they are. They haven't really taken any big knocks, unlike some of the major indices and equities. That's a good sign. It really just means hopefully there's not too much bearishness, that most of the sellers have departed at this time. That's it from me. So listen, if I don't see you before Christmas and New Year's, I want to wish you the very best. Lots of love from me to you and your family and your loved ones. Get some time off, spend some rest, spend some time with your family, have some rest, and eat lots of food, too much food probably. And we will see you soon. Thank you.